The more volume you have, the more money you make, the more opportunities you have. Period. End of discussion. There's nothing else that matters. Volume. With a real estate brokerage, it's volume of agents. From a real estate agent perspective, it is volume of listings. I will die on this hill. If anybody wants to respond to this and say, oh no, paying this lead service for more buyers, I want a higher volume of buyers. Not a smart way to run your business. I've polled as many people as I could ever poll, and they all tell me that a buyer is 3 times the work and less likely to close, which means that agent charging 1% to list a house is making more money per hour, making more money more efficiently than an agent running around all weekend and all evening trying to find a house that this buyer wants to buy. Do the math. Do 30 hours of work for a buyer, minimum, at 3%, and tell me that you're making more money than doing less than 10 hours of work charging 1% to list a house. You know you're not. And on top of that, those listings lead to buyers, they lead to more listings, they lead to all these good things. What do buyers lead to? They lead to failed inspections, go find more houses, more time away from your family, more time away from the things that you want to do because you actually want a life. I've talked to people managing 20, 30, 40 listings that are working 20 to 25 hours a week max. And I've talked to people with 3 or 4 or 5 buyers that are running like 30 or 40-hour weeks trying to find homes. If you chose the higher volume of buyer strategy, you chose the wrong one. I've asked tons of people, how many buyers can you manage before you tap out? And most people say 3, 4, maybe 5. I asked those same people, what if you had a huge volume of listings? Could you manage 30 listings? Could you manage 40 listings? They all say, yeah, I could do that. I can do that a hell of a lot easier than I can manage 3 or 4 buyers. I'll tell you that right now. And so it's volume. It's volume of the right things. For a brokerage, they need a higher volume of agents. They need a lower volume of brick and mortar locations. That's why Anywhere, the big, huge company, the second biggest real estate brokerage in the country, 250,000 agents. They got bought for $1.6 billion. Redfin, with 3,000 agents, got bought for $1.75 billion. You want to know why? Anywhere has a high volume of brick and mortar locations, okay? Redfin has a high volume of inbound leads. When you have a high volume of inbound leads, you're valuable. When you have a high volume of brick and mortar locations, you are losing value. And that's why, just doing the math here, 1.6 billion divided by 250,000 agents, let's see, what does that wind up being? Divided by 250,000 agents. Anywhere was purchased for $6,400 per agent. So think about that. If an agent closes 2 deals in a year, if each one of those 250,000 agents closes 2 deals next year, guess what? That pays for the acquisition of the second largest brokerage in the United States anywhere, aka Realogy. And yet Rocket bought Redfin and their 3,000 real estate agents for $583,000 an agent. Hang on, let's think about that. 1.75 billion divided by 3,000 real estate agents. Why are Redfin agents, if you're looking at it from an agent standpoint, $583,000 per agent, whereas Anywhere was purchased for $6,400 per agent? Why is that? Because you get valued based on the number of agents you have, potentially, or the number of leads that you generate. But when you have a higher volume of brick and mortar locations, which means a higher volume of secretaries, higher volume of administrators, higher volume of team leaders, higher volume of assistant brokers and associate brokers and managing brokers, guess what? You got a higher volume of the wrong thing. You got a higher volume of debits and not a high enough volume of credits. So as a brokerage, the entire point, control your costs and either recruit a bunch of agents or recruit a bunch of leads.